Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Birmingham Bible Church's Winning Wednesday. And on every Wednesday at 12 noon, this is our Winning Wednesday. And so we are declaring and decreeing that you are all winners. That's right, you are victorious. There is a scripture in the Bible that says, "But thanks be to God because he has given us the victory." Well, victory over what? Whatever you feel defeated in, whatever your situation is, whatever your circumstance is, we declare on today that you have the victory and you are victorious. And so we've also set aside some time on this day to bring you some vital information, some important information from people around this country. And so we want you to do us a favor. If you are on Facebook, we want you to share this broadcast. If you're on YouTube, we need you to subscribe to BHAM BC. And if you are on Twitter,
we need you to also look as well on Pastor Mason's page. We are on Dr. and that's period JHM the third. So we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on Twitter. And so we are excited today because we are discussing another important topic that is very much needed. It is about stress and how to manage it. And I am of the opinion, and I know all of you are the same opinion, that we all deal with stress in some form or fashion. This past year has been stressful. And so I know you all know that a lot of things can cause stress. Our jobs cause stress. People, if you have money troubles, y'all, I got up this morning and I said, I'm not going to get on the news. I'm not going to watch any news, not going to get on social media. I was just checking my email, and there was some stressful things that came across my email. And so I don't care in what capacity you're in, there are a lot of things that can cause us stress. Stress is unavoidable. However, we have to know how to manage it. And so since we are not experts at this topic at all, we decided to reach out to our friend Tammy Edwards CAUTHEN here in Birmingham. She is a licensed professional counselor. She's certified in Alabama and Georgia. She's a licensed social worker. She has all kinds of degrees and awards and recognition. And so I'm going to let her tell you all about that in just a minute. But if you have any questions in the comments, please put them in the comment section of whatever you're watching so that we can address them and ask Miss Tammy possibly at the end of her presentation. And so thank you, Miss Tammy, for joining us here on today. Before you get started with your presentation, please tell us about yourself.
My name is Tammy CAUTHEN, and we're located here in Birmingham, Alabama. Like Ms. Pam said, I'm a licensed professional counselor. We service from adults to kids, dealing with just personal issues, sometimes social issues, throughout the Birmingham and throughout Tuscaloosa.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know you have a lot of experience in this. You have seen a lot. You've dealt with a lot. And so please continue to tell us about just how we can manage our stress during these times. How can we do that?
Okay. Am I going to be able to share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. I think you can.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Can you see it, Ms. Pam?
Yes, ma'am. Looks great.
You can see it. Okay. All right. Ms. Pam has already told you who I am. Like she said, I am a licensed professional counselor. So today's topic is very important. We're talking about stress management. So we know that throughout 2020, even if you had a peaceful life, some type of stress came through when you heard the word pandemic. Because no one in my generation I know has ever dealt with the pandemic. So we did not know what to expect. They had stress just from the social isolation, just from working at home, managing kids. And so everyone has told that they have had some type of stress feeling just from just knowing of the pandemic. So basically, stress is something that we all experience. So sometimes when you experience stress, your body may react different ways. It could be from physical illness, psychological illness. It could even cause damage to relationships, so just not performing like you're normally performing. Because sometimes you may feel like you're not stressed, but your behavior, reactions towards others may show that. So we need to learn to manage our stress by knowing the signs of stress. What's making you stressful? Is it because of working from home? Is it because of doing homeschooling? Is it because of not being able to attend church? So for some people, that's their only outlet. And that was taken away during 2020. And even now, just with all the virtual church in 2021. Be sure that you realize those circumstances that trigger your stress. Make sure that you learn some stress management techniques to help you cope during this time. Everyone has different way of coping, but so you have to figure out what works for you. Stress is a process. It begins with a demand that increases your experience through demand, and it ends with a stress response. That could be psychological, anxiety, or behavior. A lot of people sometimes feel like, why am I worried? Well, sometimes you're worried about things because that's a form of stress. Or why am I lashing out on people? That could be a form of stress. And sometimes it is psychological. Sometimes you need to go and talk to someone that could be non-biased about what's going on with you and how you're feeling, because you need to know that your feelings are valid. A lot of times people feel like no one understands what I'm going through, so why should I go talk to someone? You need to talk to someone that you trust and that can also listen to what you have to say. Make sure that you know that stress manifests in every one of us, but it also shows in different ways. For some people, they get stressed, they don't eat, they don't sleep. But for some people, they oversleep, they overeat. They're up all times of the night. They just always worried about the next day, the next bill, the next job. So you got to recognize those behaviors. What I like to tell my clients is that sometimes it's good to start to take note of those things. If everybody has a cell phone, so use your notes in your cell phone, or either if it's in the middle of the night, sometimes some people don't have their phones by them when they're sleeping. Keep a notebook by your bed so you can just write down those things. Also, too, be mindful of that, even when you are stressed out about different things that you're kind of limiting with your intaking on social media, the news. We know we've had a lot of incidents go on in the last year, but just certain things that you watch on TV can cause you to be even more stressed. So sometimes you got to limit your TV time. For me, I'm a HGTV girl, so a lot of times I don't even know what's going on the news. I cut the news on, watch the weather, and occasionally I may watch the news or may look at something to see what's going on. But a lot of times you have to limit that and just be mindful of that. Some common signs of stress: sometimes your heart is racing, you're just shaking. It's hard for you to make a decision. Normally you can make a decision just like that, but then all of a sudden stress, you can't even make a decision about what you even want for dinner for the day. Just simple decisions can sometimes give you signs that you're stressed. You just don't know how to focus. You're normally able to complete tasks, get them done off of your to-do list, and now you've only done one thing out of 10 things. Is it because you're not focused? What's going on? Your appetite, you're sleeping. It's just a lot of other signs that sometimes that are not normal for you that you may start to experience. Some potential stress triggers: sometimes it's the increased responsibility. One thing I know that I did see during 2020 was a lot of people were ready for kids to go back to school. They loved them to death, but having to deal with homeschool, working from home, and an extra grocery bill and power bill caused an increase in responsibility. So a lot of people were ready for them to go back to school. Major life changes: marriage, divorce, relationship troubles. Lord knows we experienced a lot of death of loved ones in 2020 and still are. But the pandemic really and truly, every time you looked around, someone was passing away. So that created a lot of stress of unexpected deaths. Relocation: your job has decided to relocate you to another state. That's stressful because you may be excited by the promotion, but who is going to be your family resource? I mean, where are you going to live? Just thinking about those things. Financial pressure: just, people losing jobs, businesses closing, not having the income that you're used to having, hours getting cut. That's stressful. Job changes: just a disaster, and with that, basically for us was the pandemic, and just other factors, just knowing those triggers. Making sure that you know some kind of stress management techniques. For some people, that's relaxation. On this list for me, I love massages. That's what I like to do. That's my wind down time. But for some people, it's praying, meditating, just kind of aromatherapy, deep breathing, just having some type of relaxation technique. Some people it's yoga, just different things like that. And exercise: I've seen a lot of people riding bikes in the last year that, have given them an outlet to help reduce their stress, to give them some type of outdoor activity. a lot of people running, and I've seen a lot of people walking in the neighborhood, which has been good, so just being mindful that you can use those activities as a way to create, reduce stress. It's a lot of on-demand exercise things going on, a lot of classes going on with that, Facebook Live and different things like that. Nutrition, what are you putting in your body? Making sure that you are eating a balanced diet, because sometimes when you're stressed, all you want to do is eat fast food or chips and cookies and candy. Making sure you eat a balanced diet, drinking plenty of water. You don't want to get dehydrated. Avoid processed foods, reducing your caffeine, avoid alcohol, making sure you're taking your medication. I know that was another thing when COVID came out, people that were not used to taking vitamins were taking vitamins daily, including me. I started adding some things into my everyday routine. Still am now, because we're trying to prevent from getting sick. Sufficient rest. Make sure you're getting sleep. People laugh about me going to bed early, but I go to bed at 7:30. I'm in the bed, but I'm up when y'all asleep. I'm up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. But you got to get your rest, because it's very important. If you're tired, then you can't function, and that causes you stress. And when you have a lot of work to do, especially working from home, make sure you're taking short breaks throughout. It doesn't have to be an hour break. It may only be 5 minutes. Make sure you're getting up, going to the restroom. If you need a snack, taking a snack, just to give your mind a chance to reset. Because if you're looking at the computer screens all day, taking phone calls that day through customer service, then that does kind of overwhelm you. Goal setting. One good stress management technique is having some goal setting. Breaking down some projects and tasks, make them achievable. It's impossible to do 20 things between your 8 and 5, but let's try to 10 of those things. So then you don't feel so overwhelmed and stressed out. Set milestones for goal achievement. What's going to be a way for you to track that progress? How you going to reward yourself? Just making sure that you're doing those things. And even with your goal setting, making sure you're still getting rest that you need, because you can be an overachiever and still not be sufficient in what you need to accomplish. This is my favorite. I love journaling. I think that journaling is a good stress reliever for a lot of people. And I have to tell people that it doesn't have to be about your feelings. You could just write your ideas down, your goals down, your dreams down, whatever you believe in God for, just as a way of relieving your stress, just making sure that you are looking at your vision, you're getting clear on your ideas. You can sometimes see a pattern in 5 months from now. You can go back and say, well, you know what? Oh, I was experiencing it in April, and here I am experiencing it again this month. Making sure that once you write them down, that you're learning how to manage those things that are triggering your stress, that have you got, even to the point of how did you react when that happened. Be proactive about your communication. Make sure that you're expressing your feelings to those who are involved in the stressful circumstances in your life. Sometimes we don't tell people because we don't want to hurt their feelings, but you have to learn that sometimes you have to communicate about what's going on, because it makes you feel a lot better. Making sure that you're also discussing those circumstances with people that you trust and that won't go back and tell anybody else. And one thing that's important too, that sometimes you do need to seek counseling or therapy, because it's not that you're weak or something, or as a lot of people think that I'm crazy because I want to talk to somebody. It's just that sometimes you need to bounce off those feelings with someone that's non-judgmental. Just make sure that it's someone that you're comfortable with, because sometimes you may go to one therapist and not be a good fit. It's just like trying on a pair of shoes. Sometimes you want to walk in tennis shoes, and sometimes you may want to walk in heels or boots, as women. So it depends on the day. So even with therapy, making sure that therapist is a connection. The first session may not be that connection. Sometimes you got to go back again, but just don't go to one person and say, oh, I'm not going back. I don't like therapy. Sometimes you got to try multiple people. You got to learn how to deal with your circumstances. Engaging in avoidance behavior is not an effective technique for stress management. So we think sometimes we'll just ignore the problem. We'll ignore the relationship. We'll ignore that I'm here overeating. I've been up for 24 hours. We got to realize that sometimes we can't ignore those things. We got to deal with it when it's coming up. Make sure that you're applying time management skills. Take time to get organized, prioritize your to-do list, learn to delegate. That's important. A lot of times in the household, we don't have our kids doing enough and we're trying to do everything, or our spouse. Make sure that they have things that they need to do too. Leave time for yourself and your schedule. It's so important that you have that time, because if you don't have time for yourself, then how can you give other people that time? My most important thing, it's okay to say no. It's very okay, because if you don't say no, then the circumstances will deal with you. You have to learn that finding stress management techniques that work for you is very important, and it promotes your health and it gives you a good mindset. And you have to be mindful that even when you experience stress, it affects you even if you don't think it does. Remember that self-care is not selfish. Just because you take a break from someone, sometimes that may be a person, sometimes it may be social media, sometimes it may be television, sometimes it may be just a family member. Sometimes you have to take time away for certain people, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're being selfish. It just means that you're getting your life together. We have any questions so far, Ms. Pam?
Oh, no, this is good. I was going to wait till you finish. I thought of a couple of them. And I don't know if you addressed it or not, but physical signs of stress, like for example, and maybe you touched on this, I've noticed like even sometimes with me, I start getting kind of hard up in
Mm-hmm.
here. So do you know of any physical signs of stress that people, because people walk around like, well, I'm fine, I'm not stressed, but then there's some physical things going on with you, and it's probably linked to stress. Do you know of any?
Yeah, definitely your just the way your body feels. Just like you were saying, your shoulders, that tightness in your shoulders, and even to the point of sometimes people have headaches and they normally don't have headaches. So even with that, and that could be from a number of things. It could be from your diet, or it could just be that you have too much going on. So that's when you know your body. Like a lot of times we feel like we're super women and super men, but we have to realize that sometimes your body lets you know when something is not right. Just like when you're ready to catch a cold, the physical sign is wet. Sometimes your nose start running. Well, the same thing, you're tired. It's okay if you sleep in an extra hour or two. Sometimes you need that. You need to sleep in a little bit longer. So being aware of those physical signs is very important. Taking note of things that normally don't happen is very important.
Okay, good. And what about children? I was talking to someone, and a lot of times, our children are stressed, but we don't know it. And I read somewhere that one sign that they're stressed is, they may complain of a tummy ache or something like that. What have you seen with youth and children to let parents know or guardians know that our child may be stressed and they need some breaks?
Well, one thing for sure, a lot of kids have stress with having to on Zoom every day and try to learn. That's definitely created some stress. So you may have had a child that loves school now that hates school because they don't have that social interaction with other students. So just being mindful of those. And, they may start to just deteriorate in their work. And even with that, sometimes too, Miss Pam, just being aware of what's going on if they are in school, or the group of friends that they're hanging around, because sometimes those things may be coming out because someone may be saying things to them that are not nice. So just being mindful that if your child normally never complains about a stomach ache and start complaining every single day, then that's a sign that you have to be aware of.
Awesome. And I like during your presentation how you were talking about even not getting enough sleep. And I was looking somewhere, and it said that if you get less than 6 hours of sleep, you can start the onset of dementia. Because, like you say,
I saw that the other day.
you saw that, yeah. And I was
Mhm.
like, I never thought about that, because you can't function because you're not getting enough sleep. So your focus is off, your concentration is off, it affects your memory. Those are some really good points. And even the nutrition, because, if you stress and me, I just, I gravitate towards sweets. That's my thing. And so I know I can't do that, because then my body's not getting the nutrition it needs. And then I'm just starting to, it just throws everything out of whack. And so, no, this was very good. And so, I'm going to look real quick to see I had while we're continuing to discuss. And I know insurance sometimes is, I know you see people on a weekly basis, but if someone wants to talk to you and let's say insurance may be an issue, tell me what can you offer through your services?
I offer a 30-minute session for $50. So that I started that real heavy during the pandemic, just to give people opportunity to be able to communicate. And if they feel like they need longer than 30 minutes, then we can work the price out.
Okay. And then, some people, we, work jobs or whatever, and it's kind of hard to avoid those triggers. You walk by somebody's desk and, you already stressed. How can we, manage our stress in a work environment, when you get around somebody who triggers your stress level? Because, it's hard to, can't get a massage right then, but what are some things that we can do in that area?
I think you just got to learn to protect your peace. And with that being said, we know that every circle has someone in it that sometimes you can hear their voice and it's like, oh, this person is going to cause me to be stressed out. So, you have to learn to protect your peace. And a lot of times they may think that you're just the person that doesn't want to be in the in crowd, but sometimes it's okay. You may you hear, instead of walking by their this you can go another way, because sometimes you be on a mission too. You have things you need to do, and then that person's gonna stop you, start talking, and then you're already stressed about a deadline. So just protect your peace. Just know that it's okay to say, hey, I really got to get this done right now, or I just can't talk right now, and I'll come back around.
Okay, awesome, good. And so, well, thank you so much, Miss Tammy. I'm going to, oops, if you could unshare your screen for a second.
Mhm.
Okay, we are going to, y'all know how we do this. We're going to give away a few sessions. And so Miss Tammy has already said that she is 30-minute sessions. And so we're going to give away, we're going to do 3 sessions. So we're going to give away 3 sessions. And so if you are watching us on social media, I'm going to give you the secret number. Most people are expecting one number. I'm going to give them another one. But if you can text your name to 205 690 0098. So if you can text your name to 205 690 0098. Okay. And Miss Tammy, before do you have anything else that you need to share with us?
No, I just think that, people just need to make sure that they're taking care of themselves and know that it's okay to say no.
Okay, awesome. Well, family, you have heard some great things from Miss Tammy on today. She talked about what causes stress, what triggers stress, how we need to talk to someone. A lot of us say, well, I'm just going to pray and talk to Jesus. Well, it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist at the same time. She talked about signs of stress and just some different things that we can do to manage our stress. And so what works well for one person may not work well for another person. And you may want to do one thing one day and then the next week do something else. And so there's so many different ways of how we can manage our stress. Last month, we had a couple of people who actually talked about the nutrition piece when we had our Winning Wednesday for Women. Miss Larissa dealt with that, so you all can go back and watch that. Pam Sigmund talked about our fitness. And so there's different ways you can do that. So you can go back and watch that as well. She talked about just a lot of great things, even when it comes to getting sleep and taking breaks. I know of one friend of mine who what she does, because I'm the kind of person, I keep working, and then I look up in this, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She would set a timer on her phone. So every 50
Mhm.
minutes or so, she set a timer on her phone, and then she knows, okay, I need to get up and walk around or go walk outside. And so those are some great things that we need to consider. And so, Miss Tammy, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I am going to go through just a couple of announcements, and then when I get through with those, I want you just to finish up at the end and just kind of tell us how we can contact you. So you can give me just a second. All right. So family, thank you so much for joining us once again on today. It is 2021, and this is the year of reconstruction for Birmingham Bible Church and for everyone. So of course, we are making sure and we want God to reconstruct everything in your life and in our lives as well. And then every first Sunday of the month, we are going to have a drive up worship celebration. We all miss each other. We all miss the fellowship, and so we want to be safe when we do this. And so we're going to have a drive up service every first Sunday of the month at 10 a.m. weather permitting. So if there's bad weather, we will not be doing it. And then, of course, we are on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube, BHAM BC, and we are on Twitter. Of course, you heard from Miss Tammy CAUTHEN on today. Last week, you heard from Dante Jelks, and then we heard from Jennifer Christian. Please go back and watch all of those Winning Wednesdays episodes. They were awesome. Next week, we have Shane Spells. It is Financial Literacy Month. And so he's going to tell us about getting our financial house in order. A lot of us have got stimulus checks and tax refunds. And so you don't want to blow it. He's going to show you really what you need to do with your monies and how to be financially stable and secure. And then we have various virtual BBC Hangouts that go on a weekly basis. We have some for our seniors, our men, our children, our teens. We have small groups on tomorrow at 7:00 p.m. If you desire that Zoom ID information, please contact myself and Lady Pam at tcowi.org. And then we have a prayer room call that goes on every Monday and Wednesday and Friday at 6 a.m. That number is 515-604-9324. And then Pastor Mason is doing a wonderful series on the church that Jesus built. That's every Sunday at 11:00 a.m. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us on today. We hope that you have an awesome week. And so once again, I'm going to give out that free 30-minute session. Again, we had a couple, so we're doing just the first three. That number is 205-690-0098. And so, Ms. Tammy, before we close, can you please give out your information of how others can talk to you and set up appointments? Uh-oh. Unmute yourself.
There we go.
There we
It
go.
was stuck. All right. So I am Tammy CAUTHEN, the owner of TC Counseling and Consulting Services, and we can be reached at 205-224-4387. Again, that's 205-224-4387 if you'd like to make an appointment. Thank you so much, Lady Pam and Pastor Mason, for having us.
You are so welcome. Thank you, guys, and have a great stress-free week. Thank you, Tammy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.